Hey everybody, welcome to EduMatch Tweet and Talk number 26. We're going to be looking at educator perspectives regarding grading policies. So welcome. Follow along with us on Google Plus, which you're obviously doing if you can see us and hear us. But in case your friends want to know, our link for tonight is bit.ly/tweettalk26. You can also chime in with your thoughts on the Twitter hashtag EduMatch or in the Q&A, which you will find if you are viewing it in real time. So, speaking of EduMatch, then check out our website at edumatch.education. From there, you can sign up to be our featured person of the day, where we will tweet random bits of information about you over a 24-hour period and try to get you some global connections with other educators. So before we begin, just wanted to give a huge shout out to DigSit Summit UK, which will be going on January 23rd in London. So check them out online. Hashtag DIGCITSUMMIT UK. Also wanted to give a huge shout out to EdCamp Global, which will be going on a little later that week, January 28th through 29th, 24 hours, going round the clock. Students, educators just coming together and sharing. So right now there is a huge push for student facilitators. So if you have students who want to share about what they're learning or how they're learning it, then please have them sign up at edcampglobal.wix.com/edcamp. One more time, that URL is edcampglobal.wix.com/edcamp. All right, so there will be a major announcement coming at the end of tonight's Tweet and Talk, so make sure that you stay tuned for that. Yeah, I know, right? I see the faces, like the surprise and the shock. Yes, exactly. So that's going to be really, really fun. So tonight's topic is grading policies, educator perspectives. And without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to our moderator, Tammy.
Thank you so much, Sarah. I'm so happy to be here tonight to talk about grading policies. I'm joined by two phenomenal educators who are joining us, if I'm not mistaken, for their first ever Tweet and Talk. And so we're going to take a moment and let them introduce themselves. Joshua, let's start with you, please.
Yes, my name is Josue Falaise. I'm a principal in a junior high school in New Jersey. I've got 16 years in education completed, and I'm excited to be here.
Excellent. And Juanita?
Yes, hi, I'm Juanita Gavan. I've been teaching second grade for the past 5 years now, and all throughout my high school career into my college and master's degree, I have watched children grow from ages 3 to 5.
Oh, awesome, awesome. And my name is Tammy Neil. I teach computer apps and game design in rural North Florida, and this is my 25th year in the classroom. And so we have elementary, middle, and high, because I am at a 6-12 school, so I teach the gamut of 6 and up. So we're going to jump in with our first question of the evening. So Juanita, we're going to go ahead and start with you on this one. What is your grading policy?
Well, in my district, what we have is like a numbered system where a 4 would be meeting full proficiency, a 3 would mean that you're proficient, and then a 2 would mean that you need great improvement, and a 1 would mean at that point that you have a lot of work to do. So what I try to do with my classroom is consider my students, not just how they're doing academically, but also how they're performing in the classroom and how they're able to demonstrate their knowledge. In my district, we have a wide range of ELO learners who typically do not do well with maybe reading the test or understanding a lot of the vocabulary. So I try to take that into mind, that not only are they just trying to learn English, but also learn content at the same time, which can be very difficult. So my grading really ranges according to the type of student that I have and what their needs are at that specific time.
Awesome, awesome. And Joshua?
My district utilizes the grading, again, in a numeric, but it's the 0 to 100, whereas 0 to 64 are students that are in need of improvement. 65 to 70 is basically like this, actually 65 to 79 are the C, 80 to 90 is the B, and then 90 to 100 are A's. The students who, I guess, between as a 1B and all 90s are like distinguished honor, almost like the Dean's List, and 1B, actually 1C, and everything above will be considered a merit. Students are identified for like the honor roll breakfast. If they make it continue throughout the year, they earn a superintendent's honor roll. It's called a breakfast of champions. So they perform well. They actually go to the college and get acknowledged on a Saturday. The students who are performing below, they're encouraged and as highly suggested to attend the like after the bell or before the bell type of tutoring enrichment program, and that runs from K to 12.
Okay. Okay. And at my school, we are mandated to have 70% of our grade count as assessment, and 30% to count as classwork is what they're calling it, but it's basically anything that we deem not to be an assessment. Our grading scale is 90 to 100 is the A, 80 to 90 is the 10%. It's the standard 10% traditional scale, with anything below a 60 receiving sadly, a failing grade. However, in my particular classroom, because I utilize Google Classroom and a lot of other technology, I'm a technology teacher basically, I do allow retakes. You know, I do allow them to prove their learning on their pace, and so that that's part of my grading policy. Is you want to make it up. Here's some extra work you can do, and then you can go retest. So well, that's what I do. So
Can I add?
yes.
I forgot to talk about actually the grading rubric. The district kind of does it different, but our school tries to be more of a project-based school. So the tests, quizzes, and projects are way up to 65% towards the final grade. 10% for homework, 50% for classwork, and then participation the last 15%.
Awesome. So you don't do. So your school does not consider participation a behavior. It's actual part of the grade.
It's more so with like attendance and stuff. So I personally don't like it, but that's the way our district has it. Again, with us trying to be not just a project-based but a standard-based school, we look to make sure that the students are achieving the standard. So to me, participation should not be graded, but that's not my policy.
Right. I know that there are some teachers in my district that do have a participation grade. I agree with you. I don't think participation. I get participation grade based on whether they do their work or not. It's built in for me. So so I don't need to have another 10% thing out there. So do either one of you accept late work? And Josh, I know that you're at a principal, but do you have teachers at your school that accept late work?
Yes. Again, if you're moving towards standards-based, it's as long as the child attains the standard, it doesn't matter really when. Obviously, as long as it's submitted before the grades are due. But the students have the gamut of the time to submit the work.
Okay. Juanita?
Well, for me, there's not really a late work since they are 7 and 8-year-olds, so they should be able to finish their work on time. And in that case, if they did not do it, then they do not get a grade for something late. And another way that I manage my classroom is what we do in class usually is just for practice. I want to see how they're developing the skills, so then I know how to adjust my teaching to meet their needs from there. And getting back to the participation, for me, I do think about participation when I'm thinking of how to grade a student, because for a lot of my kids, they're younger, so their reading skills really range in their level of independence ranges. So it would be really difficult to really accurately assess my students just based upon like a test or whatever their percentages are adding up to, because some of the kids that might score low on a test are the same kids that always have their hands raised and are always interested in knowing well, just knowing more and trying to find ways to explain what they know.
Okay, so we have a question from our Q&A. We have an audience member. Let me see if I get the name correctly. Susie Hiley is watching, and she has a question about what we consider, Joshua, what you consider the advantages and drawbacks to standards-based grading.
Standards-based grading is because the drawback is the time. Again, if you're allowing a child to perform within this specific time of range, and again, they can actually take a test over and over and over again, because one of the things is, as long as they attain the standard, it doesn't matter when. So the question could be, if they tried in September all the way to December, that's kind of long to take an assessment or 4 assessments or 3 assessments. So that's the drawback that I see. Other thing is, sometimes with when you have some of the assessments to break down by formative, it's like bit by bit by bit. You're assessing too many small bits, and whereas in the I guess traditional grading with the rubric, you're looking at the child by first market period, second market period, third market period, fourth market, whereas the standards-based is looking at all the sub-skills that students have to obtain.
That's got to be a huge report card.
That is correct. Standards-based grading is a huge report card.
Wow.
Not only that, but I think about just how much time and management skills a teacher would have to keep up with where everyone is, if it's no specific cutoff time to when a skill needs to be achieved.
Yes, that also sounds like a little bit of a nightmare to me.
Yeah.
We also have a question about zeros. Do students get zeros in your classes, in your school, and how do you handle that? For myself, I do my best to encourage the kids to get their work done, but if there is no work, nothing that I can use to justify that assignment, I kind of don't have an option at this point. There's nothing in my system that allows me to do anything else, whether I like it or not. So, Juanita?
Well, for me, a student can earn a 0 on an assessment, but usually if they do, it's usually a language issue, or it could even be that the child has special needs. So that's not the typical student. I mean, most of my kids achieve, like, the lowest grades that they achieve are maybe in the 50s. So a complete 0, I've never given a student that score before.
Okay. Josh?
Students can earn a 0 for not completing work. I'm in a junior high school, which is also middle school, so you got the students with apathy at that time. But the lowest grade we can actually give to a child in any of our system is 59. So they can earn straight 0s and not do a single thing in the market period and actually still earn a 59, which is still considered an F.
Okay. So I want to say thank you guys for joining us. We've had a great, quick conversation. Hopefully it's getting the conversation going over on Twitter and in our Voxer group as well. And I'm going to, I think Sarah wants to jump in and answer this question. Yay, we've let Sarah do the directing and producing in the background, but she wants to jump in. So go ahead, Sarah. Jump in.
Okay, great. Yeah, in terms of the zeros question, and that's one thing that I've always kind of struggled with, but my last few years teaching, then as long as there was an effort made, then similarly to Josh, what he was saying about the 59 being the lowest score that I would put in, just because it's really hard to recover from a 0 when you look at the actual percentages. If you put a 0 in, for a child who attempted something and just totally got everything wrong, then it's really, really hard to come back from that, even if the assignment is very low point value. So if they made an effort, then I would give them a 59, because that way they could do something and kind of recover from it. So that's what I wanted to add to the 0 question.
I think that's something that we have all struggled with at some point in our career. I know myself, yeah, if there is effort at all, it won't be a 0. I don't know what it will be. It depends on how much effort and how close to completing it, trying to complete a task and all of that. But yeah, I don't like having to put zeros in my grade book. I actually created a custom grade that says not done, so that it identifies to the parents that this is work that your child has not completed, has not turned in, so therefore I cannot assess it at this point. And encouraging them to do something. Give me something that I can say, okay, you got a 5. That's better than a 0. So that I can, and hopefully they would give me something more than their name on a piece of paper. But I teach middle school right there with you, Joshua, and the apathy is, middle schoolers are not necessarily focused on the grade as they are the acceptance in the classroom and in the social circles that they're in. And so that is definitely a different beast. Middle school is definitely a different beast. So we have another Q&A from Cynthia, and I'm just going to read what she's written. Our state is moving to proficiency-based graduation and proficiency-based grading and personalized learning plans. Tough transition, taking huge effort. So are your schools going through any personalized learning activities, plans, goals? Either
No.
one of you want to jump? Not at this time, Josh?
No.
Well, most of my lessons, I try to relate it to the students in some way because I want them to buy into what it is that I'm teaching them. So although it hasn't been necessarily mandated by the state, it is something that I try to do so that the kids can really just see themselves in the lessons and hopefully value them more, and it stays with them longer because they know that I really took the time to listen to what it is that they liked or what it was that they do, and incorporated it into our learning environment in some way.
Okay. And I think that's something that all the teachers in the classrooms are trying to do, get the kids to see the purpose and relate it back to something that they're doing. Okay, one last question, and then we're going to wrap it up for the evening. This is the biggie. What do your grades show? So when a parent looks at your grade and it's an A or a B or a C, what does that communicate back to your parents and to the students for that matter? Which one of you wants to jump in first? Oh, he's pointing at you, Juanita. Yeah, I just saw a finger. I think, Juanita, he's pointing at you first.
Well, what I would hope that my grades show is just how the child is doing for that particular quarter. A lot of times on the assessments that I give the kids, they always know it's coming. And when they get their assessments back, I try to leave a little message to them when I can about how they could have gotten the answer correct. It's pretty easy to do when they have a math lesson and they take their assessment for it and they get it back and they can read their comment and kind of fix it for the next time before we get another test. So what I hope that it shows is just how much the child has grown within that quarter and how well they're learning those concepts. But it's not just for me the end all be all, because it's a whole process, and if I do my job as well as I hope that I do, the kids see their growth and not just, okay, well, I have a 3 or I have a 4. They get to see, okay, so at first maybe I didn't get it, but then I got better on the next assessment, and okay, wow, by the end of it I knew it. So go me.
Yes. Okay, Joshua, hot seat.
The grades is also not the end all at my school also. Since the teachers had they have summative assessments, they have formative assessments, and with every type of assessment, and child not only gets a grade, the teachers have to provide standards-based constructive feedback. So even if it's like posted on the wall, bulletin board, the big things I walk in and look for is the constructive feedback that is all aligned to the standard, so the child sees where I went wrong or where I did well, and again, everything's aligned to a skill-based standard. So just because the child may get a straight 90, we have to get to the point of special ed, because with children's IEP and goals and objectives, if they achieve their objective, if it's 70, then they get the 100. So we also have to look at making sure that it's, I wouldn't say equitable, but then it's realistic, because a special needs child can get 100, but then the honors child who had to really, bust their butt with no, I wouldn't say not modification, and was able to excel with enrichment or pushing. There are two different standards, but again, for that special needs child, they obtained according to their goal and objective, whereas the child with the honors or gifted and talented achieved it just because they kept pushing themselves because they have the capability. So that's one thing that we try to have parents understand. So like our honor roll breakfast, you may have some special needs students, and some may say, well, why is that person there? And then, whereas you see some other gifted and talented or honor students with, yeah, they earned it, but everyone's pushing to earn it on their own. So it's reflective of everyone achieving the highest standard they can according to what is given to them.
So that really is more personalized.
Yes.
Learning in that respect. So,
yes.
So child A may have earned an honors recognition because they really worked to achieve whatever the goal was previously set, even if that goal doesn't match the same as the person sitting next to them, as student B. So that really is some, you guys are really doing some personalized learning.
I didn't.
In that respect. In that respect, it may not be a formal program, but you are taking into account the personal needs of each of your students. Okay, and we have one last question that came in from Q&A. Was how about competency-based grading? And I think, Joshua, you just alluded to that in what you were talking about, that those students that have specific goals are graded based on the competencies that they are, what they are able to complete, excuse me. So, and as for me, I hope that my grades show growth. Most of my kids start out with very little computer skill, and I hope that by the end of the year they've seen the growth. But yeah, the A in the beginning of the year does not necessarily mean the same as the A at the end of the year, because of the amount of learning that has taken place. So, so with that, I want to say thank you guys. I'm going to hand it back over to Sarah for our wrap-up and all of her lovely announcements. I cannot wait to hear what her announcements are. So, Sarah, it's all yours.
Thank you very much, Tammy, and thank you so much to Juanita and to Josh. This has been a fantastic conversation. Also, thank you to everyone who has participated in the Q&A, as well as back-channeling on Twitter. So, great, awesome discussion. So, the Twitter chat will be storified, and the Google Hangout will be stripped of video and be posted as an iTunes podcast. I have to say right now, I tried participate.com, which is a new type of platform, it looks like, for Twitter chats. That seems to be one aspect of it. So I just tried it out today. I just heard about it, so I decided to try it, and it seemed really cool. It seemed like a cool way to streamline it. So they have EduMatch on there as one of their Twitter chats. So I liked it. Make sure that y'all come back next week. We're going to have a double header with at 6 o'clock Eastern Time with Homeschool Connections. So brainstorming the best ways for homeschool connections, like for example, project-based learning. How do we engage the parents at home? So that's going to be a great one. We're also going to have a second edition of EduMatch next week by the title An Educational Disturbance, and we're going to be talking to people in the Detroit community as well as in the Philadelphia community about conditions that teachers are currently facing in those areas, and just kind of bringing attention to these issues that are currently going on. So if you're interested in joining us for a tweet and talk, then please be sure to do so. Anyone can be a panelist as long as you're an educator and you have a passion for the topic. And Tammy just dropped a great clarification in the chat. Home to school connection next week, not homeschool. So thank you, Tammy, for bringing that to light. So just wanted to remind you all that the Blabathon is now seeking panelists. So that's going to be going on December 30th, starting at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we are looking for panelists. So you can sign up at bit.ly/Blabathon sign up. And there we're going to be recapping a lot of these shows that we're doing, a lot of the tweet and talk. So hopefully y'all will sign up to join us for that. In addition, are y'all ready for the big announcement?
Yes.
Everybody ready? Drum roll. All right, so now announcing Ed Camp Voxer, which will be going on the 23rd up until the 30th of this month. So special shout out to Nicole Howard and to Rochelle Wooten for organizing that. So it's going to be going on from the 23rd at 12 noon all the way up until 11:45 a.m. on the 30th, just to coincide with the launch of the Blabathon. So hopefully we have you all sign up for that. So you can sign up. You'll see the link that has been dropped on the EduMatch hashtag about 5 minutes ago. So if you're interested in that, then just go ahead and sign up and we'll get you all set up. So if you want to subscribe to the show, then please do so at bit.ly/EduMatch podcast. And folks, that is a wrap. So thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you all so much for participating. So see y'all next week.